Just us.
Yeah. Yeah, we get to go.
All right, how are we doing, team? It's Trevor Ireland and Charles Walker from Heroes Martial Arts. Just going to get just a decent little warm-up going, and I'm going to show some more pressure past the defense details. Probably going to be a slightly shorter class because there's only so much I can show in that arena. Next week we'll be talking about more than likely sweeps or submissions or anything in between there, and there's also going to be preventative defense on that. Okay, so just like always, I like to start with 10 side kicks, 10 forward kicks, 10 on the wall. Trevor will join me. We're going to see you guys get more flexible. Work on this thing. Just talk to the rest of it right now. Gonna be have some interesting ideas for some new videos coming up soon. Thinking outside the box ideas. Provide a unique product that nobody else has. I'll be able to tell you. Also, his goal is to try to get people into Jiu Jitsu that aren't in Jiu Jitsu. Deciding that, and even it's hard for Gumby to watch instructionals. It does get a little boring. Also telling some other interesting stories too, but probably should broadcast on YouTube. Real big hugs. I'll swing my arms left over right. Try to touch shoulder blade. Here, Baloney, give yourself a big hug. It's not the same though. Warranty. Go feet shoulder width apart. Let's bounce back on our heels, up on our toes. Just a little balance shield. Get those calves moving. Work on your balance. We'll make millions of dollars in this world. Not quite these days. Knowing their balance, knowing physics, projectiles, being a rebound king, whatever it is. So torso twist, feet still firmly planted on the ground. Terror brace. All the Pippin memes and Jordan memes are coming back. Everybody just forgot about the bowls or something. Big circles out of your head and neck to the chest, through your shoulder. Or back inside that. Don't talk about MJ's gambling. Not for a second. I'm going to set that timer. Get some squats going for a whole minute. Once again, locking our breath to our movement. Big breath in through our nose. Exhale through your mouth as you're putting any workload for your muscles. Big breath in. Exhale out, and that last little flex of your glutes helps out a lot. Breath in. Exhale out. Quality, not quantity. It's actually for time. About halfway through on this. It's just a decent routine to have every day. Obviously, it's not going to make you sore, but at least boosting your metabolism. Best things to do to boost your metabolism and muscle growth are those squats and those push-ups and pull-ups for that matter. About 15 more seconds of this. So can I zoom? 6 more seconds. Don't worry, we'll put our knees on later. Just a little bit more. We're going down for our push-ups and our parachuters. Once again, locking your breath to your movement. Go down, big breath in, exhale out. Lock your breath to your movement some logical way. We're getting bonus time on this. Breath in as a parachuter. Exhale out. Just like you're doing some bench press, you breathe at that logical point. Almost halfway through this. Little elbows. About 20 more seconds. Or it's just a brief warm up.
Get to the good stuff. Everybody just wants to get to the good stuff. Skip the warm-up. Skip the instruction. Straight to the move. Straight to sparring. Flip over to the backside. It's really just that mental discipline we're looking for. Push yourself through those workouts. And also it's injury prevention. You shouldn't see it as a warm-up. You should just see it as injury prevention. Maybe about a couple more seconds. We can get bonus time on this. Big breath in on our deep breath version. Exhale out. Never holding our breath. It's for time. But we always like to say quality over quantity. It's funny seeing those gym fail videos when people think they're doing repetitions and they're not. It's like, I did 1,000 reps. No, you actually never did one. You're 1,000 and you equal 1. Think about that same idea. If you're drilling the technique wrong, did you really drill the technique? Don't worry. Sometimes you only get about 70% of the technique. You can learn the rest along the way. Or sometimes there's missing concepts and tools, things we didn't hear. For some of us, it takes forever. But just never quit. Before you know it, 10 years will go by. And hopefully you're not still a blue belt. Belts don't really matter anyway. I'm going to stop the timer. We're going to get a quick stretch. Go one leg out when we begin. Get a pre-stretch and we'll also get a cool-down stretch later on. Still breathing, still important. In through our nose, exhaling through our mouth. Let's go and switch, especially as you switch. You can close your eyes and meditate a little bit. It's difficult things is to empty our brain of thoughts. Very difficult task. Go both legs forward. Very lucky to be able to come to the gym and be on mats and have the space to be able to do stuff, but you gotta do what you can at home. Try to stretch, keep your body in order, open up. Legs are infinitely sore. Sores will not go away for some reason. Again, must be doing something right or wrong on top of that. Oh, butterfly. Try to bring those heels close to your body. Push those knees down to the ground if we can. Good job. Cocoon. Yeah, cocoon for life. We'll have to do some assisted stretches on some of these times. Just the legs over your dome.
Especially if you're going to be getting stacked for the day. I expect everybody to be as flexible as I.
All right, time, team. We're just going to get our gis on, get a quick sip of water, and we'll be right back with you. Shouldn't be any longer than that. Okay, team. So we're going to deal with a couple more scenarios to do with stack passing. I definitely talked more in depth about what is a stack pass, what are the different scenarios that we're going to be dealing with. I'm going to go down, Chuck. I can go and gloss over those again. We still have our good options, but I'm also going to kind of show for Chuck's sake, which I already kind of showed him before, but just to remind him, and also you at home to see these different scenarios here. Okay, so I kind of glossed over having one leg trapped over my shoulder and also pressuring situation here. Okay, well, sometimes what ends up happening is I'll pull all the way through, and then the bottom person kind of has this half guard scenario, right? I personally don't like to play this position when I'm on top. I would prefer already to start thinking about how am I going to get close and go chest to chest on that. But some people will play this position, and depending on your flexibility, you might get tapped out from here. You're in this scenario, I prefer if I kick my own leg through to get this half guard scenario as opposed to my opponent smashing and trapping my leg here. This makes things a little bit harder. But I'm going to talk about all these different scenarios and probably shows a couple of different scenarios from this double under here, okay? Because there's all kinds of preemptive things that we could have did. Chuck can open up his legs and go heavy leg on this, right? That's a battle that we should have done, right? But there might be microseconds where we didn't react properly. So it's good to have a lot of different counters under the sun on that. And obviously, you'll go in stages and also, for me, I'm banking that most people make the most mistakes, right? It's very, very hard to train people to be preemptively defensive in certain situations. I'm gonna talk about that. Just give me 1 second. I need to talk about this alarm block at the same time. It's happened at the same time last time. Used to be my nap alarm. Anyway, so for the most part, like I said, I'm banking that most people are going to make the most mistakes, and you're getting yourself in some of the worst scenarios, especially for some of us that are really flexible or some of us that are small or whatever the situation is. People are going to try to stack you and spread you out and do all kinds of crazy stuff to you. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a couple of double under stack pass counters that I didn't really talk about on Tuesday, and then I'm going to show a couple of different unorthodox things that some of the Mendez brothers do, and just some natural progressions to things that I've been exploring with. It's definitely things that I didn't invent, of course. It's things that I've seen other high-level guys do, right? I'm not claiming to invent anything, but who knows? Maybe I have a submission or two that is got lost to time, but I certainly didn't invent anything. So let's go to the double under here. So before I talk about what's really bad from here, and if I talked about the scenario on Tuesday already, correct me in the comments or in Zoom or whatever. So maybe I was thinking, I'm trying to break these grips, right? I'm trying to break these grips, right? I'm already feeling that I'm getting scooped up, right? Chuck's gonna scoop me up, right? So if I'm thinking that I'm gonna break these grips at this point, going this way when he's lifting my hips up, this is gonna be a little bit difficult, right? I've already kind of lost this battle because he scooped my hips up off of the ground here, okay? So there is something that we can do differently, right? Instead of trying to go out this way, break the grips out this way, I'm actually gonna make my legs small here. I'm gonna make my legs small, and I'm gonna try to make these grips inaccurate. I'm gonna push these up. And I'm going to try to get my knees out. And, Chuck could really be trying to keep this tight as much as he can. But the moment I get my knees past this forearm line, this isn't going to be good for him anymore. And depending on if he wants to keep those grips, I can really just get my feet all the way out at that point, right? So I'm just trying to make him inaccurate. And there's so many different stages that I can defend this scenario. Okay, so he's going to scoop under, double under, right? I'm thinking, maybe I got perimeter, but Chuck is really strong. So, yep, a lot of times this isn't going to work. But I kind of just went the other way, kind of with the flow, right? I'm not trying to freak out. I'm not trying to push down over his body. I'm not trying to fight my opponent's body. I'm trying to slick out the way that I can here. Okay, so believe me, I've been in this scenario where it's up, I'm getting stacked, right? And I'm thinking, how am I going to get it? I'm trying to do this. And already I feel like I'm stacking myself over my neck and my head. This is probably not a good thing. So I'm definitely going to bring my head up off of the ground, right? And I don't want to stay here long. If I feel like I can beat his grip and open up for a spider, that's awesome. And you should be thinking about your next counter. But right now we're just thinking about recovery, right? I have recovered to my guard, right? So technically I have recovered, that's cool. But getting back to a good closed guard, make your opponent fight through as many layers of your guard as you possibly can. It's gonna definitely tire them out, right? Like a concept Gumby was talking about this morning. Are you fighting out of a bad position, or are you fighting through a bad position, right? Are you fighting out of a bad position, or are you fighting through a bad position? There's a distinct difference. And as Gumby would say, the more and more you train with him and with us, and you're gonna see the difference on that. Okay, so he's gonna go under again. He's gonna scoop me up. I realized, like, okay, I can't use my legs at this point. I feel this because my hips have been scooped up. So let's bring me down, Chuck. So if he's low and my hips are low, I might have a higher percentage chance to do more of the Gumby style defense. And this is good, right? This is all good in the hood. If I can wiggle, that's one thing that I kind of like to do depending on how my opponent's grips are, right? If you feel like this is hard, sometimes I'm doing the same thing of going heavy leg, right? But I'm going to use just little bits of wiggles to open this up. And I usually have a nice laugh with my opponent when I do that. They're like, wow, that really works. I'm like, yeah, what do you think I do it? Right? Why would I do something that I didn't think was going to work? You're gonna go under. Well, sometimes you do. At lower levels, you definitely do. Right? So I'm here. Oh, I've already lost that battle, so I know what I gotta do. Here. Right? That's just one of those stages. Right? So he goes low. This is another stage. If I didn't even let him get his hands together, there's a stage. But if he gets his hand together there, boom, 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 might need to wiggle that out a little bit. Let's talk about another stage when things are starting to get really bad. Okay? So he's gonna go double under or single under. It doesn't really matter at this point, right? So he's gonna start going around. Maybe he just went faster for me to react. As soon as I see him disappear from my vision, right, I'm gonna start to get up, right? I want to, yeah, he's going thumb inside the collar, but it doesn't really matter. You know, Gumby really shows grab here, right? If it's thumb inside the collar, he's gonna end up maybe even hurting himself a little bit too because I'm gonna push this elbow, right? So I'm just gonna throw this elbow by. Yeah, there we go. He can be on his toes. He can go. I don't mind. He's gonna walk around. Good. I'm gonna make this inaccurate by pushing his elbow. Right now we're hip to hip, right? He might think that he might run across. There are some cool counters to this for the top person, but right now I'm just gonna recover my guard. Okay? And I can show a couple different scenarios, what we can do from here depending on how we go with the flow. But right now I'm gonna re-square with my opponent. Basically what I did to his arm was a far drag for the most part, using my forearm and pushing my opponent out to the outside. Okay. Technically, he's not in between my arms and I'm not in between his arms, but I have to re-square my opponent. So I have this post here. It might have been up on my hand too. It might have been on my elbow. This is still going to allow me to get up, right? I'm going to skate my leg and re-square with my opponent. A lot of times we create a scramble at that point where they're going to re-square. And that's usually what happens because I'm just trying to recover my guard, I'm trying to stop my opponent's initial pass, right? Usually when you stop somebody's initial pass, especially when they've got like 97% through a pass, they're usually going to stop at that point because, you know, they used a lot of work and psychologically they thought that they beat you just by getting around the corner, right? Unless they're thinking about the next thing. They have to develop counter. There's always a counter to a counter. Gumby was literally going on forever, counter to a counter, 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 counter to a counter, counter to counter, over and over, right? It goes on forever, depending on people's body types. You might have a go-to move and you go against a certain body type and it doesn't work, right? There's certain guys that if I go against guys that are as flexible as me, which is pretty rare, but when I do, I see the frustration that people deal with when they deal with me, with the frustration that they deal with. Okay, so let's talk about that again. He's beating me. He's going around the corner, right? So I see this. I'm gonna push the elbow out of the way, and right now he's staying heavy on my hips, right? So maybe I feel like I can't square up, but maybe I can be slick and do something and roll over here. So let's change our over. Change this over. So what I'm basically gonna kind of turn this into is kind of like a mini judo throw. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get up. Right? And he's going to keep pursuing. Keep running around the corner on your feet. Not that way. You don't want to go that way, right? Yeah, there you go. He does that. And I'm going to be able to get my opponent over at that point. That makes sense, though, Chuck. Like you want to keep running around the side that you want to go, right? So that's what happens. So let's figure out how we're going to get a shot on this. So over here, he's falling. He keeps falling. Yes, this is exactly what I want. He's going over. I know I have his shoulder, so all I have to do is roll over. Maybe on his head, maybe not. And I end up on top. Gets tricky when we're starting to do more motions on this. Here, yeah, he's trying to stack me. Yeah, he's running. That's fine. In this case, I ended up on this side and actually have a submission attempt from there. So if I can't really square and go for my guard, sometimes you have to go with the flow on that. And it seems a little bit risky, but if you watch some high-level judoka matches, you'll see that they actually do that. They use that same concept, but they kind of body slam you from standing, right? A very mean way to finish a judo throw is to roll and body slam your opponent, right? It's not just, the Seonagi isn't just this and stop. They want to go all the way through and show their back, but that's bad for us in jiu-jitsu. So that's why a lot of people from the other arts develop bad habits, kind of based on the rules. And us, for that matter, too, like being all happy that we can't do certain leg locks. So you kind of build this false sense of security for many years that you're kind of impervious to leg locks or whatever because we haven't been training enough heel hooks and the rules kind of deter it and the gi and tradition and all these sort of things. Okay. Just 1 second, just need to get a sip of water. Look at my list of things just so I stay on track. Sweet. And the guy that does that counter very well, who I think too, probably he didn't invent it either, but it's probably something that they've learned. He used to be kind of in our jiu-jitsu family, is Nick Green. He tends to use this counter a lot. And a lot of people here use it as a result too. All right, moving along. Okay, so this is going to be the trickier of things that I'm going to show today. Okay, so I'm trying to find a good angle for all this. Okay. So let's go ahead and review the basic guard recovery really quick. So I could just show that guard situation, but he's gonna be trying to go across, right? And I'm gonna be going blocking, shoulder and hip. That's what's coming at me. I'll go foot on the ground, change my angle, right? And I'm gonna throw my leg over here. Okay. So let's just say he sits back for the moment, right? But now I throw my leg here. Okay. So once again, I want to talk about all these stages of things, right? So right now he's not pressuring me, but right now he sees that opportunity. So before I may have kicked heavier to get my shin, to maybe get my lasso or whatever, he sees this as an opportunity to stack me. Okay. So he's gonna try to lift this up. Yes. So I'm already gonna be getting on my shoulder to kind of alleviate this. Okay. So go and just go on your knee for a second, Chuck. Yeah. Well, sometimes they're just more top heavy on this. Yeah. See that? So there's a couple different things that I can do on this. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, the first thing is I'm gonna reach with this hand that's low, and I'm gonna escape out the back door. So wherever my leg is at this point means that the rest of my body can follow for the most part. Okay. And make sure you have enough range on this, because if you smash me too much, it's gonna be a little bit too hard, right? And I'm gonna do a couple different angles on this. Okay. But for right now, I'm gonna trap the arm and I'm gonna roll through on this. Okay. So the beauty of this is when I come up, I'm actually in a crucifix position here. Okay, so let's go ahead and move everything around. So here we are. Yeah, and this might be a result of him trying to smash me, or it might be a result as that's just what I felt like doing. Okay, I can control the grip the whole time, either controlling the wrist or controlling the grip. Sometimes I'm over the arm here. I'm going to show way more about this because there's already an arm lock here, but I can still keep this control and roll through and slide down to the wrist here. Okay, and now I'm in a crucifix position because I have the arm trapped. Okay, let's go back. Here again, right? On my shoes, I'm gonna spin through. Okay, I'm not going inverted necessarily. I'm just spinning on the small of my back. Okay, you're not going over your neck. You're not going over your head. It's not as complicated as it looks necessarily. These are scenarios that people are going to basically get themselves caught because they just want to pass, they just want to scoop, they just want to throw the leg over. Before they do, I'm trying to get through the space that I know I can manage. Through, open, and trap. And obviously, I'm itching to roll through and attack and all that good stuff, but I'm going to save that for next week or the week after that. Okay. So I'm just going to show that a couple times. From here, spin through, sit up. Here. Through. I want to control this arm. If you want to go to the back, you can keep this, and I can throw this over, and I'm actually going to be trapping his arm when I roll through here. See, I have this the whole time. If I can get his wrist trapped behind here, this is really bad for him, especially when I start to escape. I'm trapping his arm. This is good for me. I can show that from a different angle. Probably this is going to be the best angle on it. There we go. Through. Oh, the trouble is when I spin and move. That's okay. Sorry, technical issues. Be in front here. There we go. This should be better. That's where I want to end up here. Sitting up. Watch. I'm starting to start moving this leg back behind with this control, right? Throwing my near side hook in. Collapse my opponent. See how I have the arm trapped behind his back? He definitely does not want this. If I keep this here, this is great for me. Anybody who's trained with me know I like to do a lot of goofy nonsense like that. So let me show from the same position. There's one other thing that we can do, either from this position or from a half guard stack position. Okay, but it's gonna be easier for me to show it from this scenario first. But don't worry, it's gonna be the same position from the half guard. Okay, so I'm just gonna make my life easier. So I might have a reason too where I don't want to stay here, right? Maybe I have this grip, maybe he was deep, whatever it is. But I'm going to be thinking about keeping my shin back behind his neck, okay? Because that means he's not managing that knee joint on his shoulder, okay? Because we're not playing this battle now where I'm fighting his whole body here. Yeah, he's connecting his whole body. That at this point, this becomes a little barrier, a little edge, or whatever you want to say on it. And I'm also using this hook, very, very important. I'm using both of my jiu-jitsu hooks. You should always be activating your jiu-jitsu hooks. They're always doing something. You're never just ballerina free. These hooks are both doing something. Okay, so imagine this leg is on the hip. That's where it is right now. It could also be in between the legs here. Okay, yep. This is a big thing for me, keeping these points of control. Okay, so the easy way without having too much things going on here, see how I'm able to roll through here? That's basically what we're going to do. So the situation is going to be a little bit different when we step the leg over here. So let's step the leg over. Now we're in half guard here. Okay. A lot of times they're trying to smash me. They might even have this grip. This is what actually screws them over a little bit more if they have this grip here. Okay. They might go through this way, but I've been blocking this, or I'm blocking both sides, right? Before my knee starts to go to my nose, I'm going to keep this range. For the most part, the moment somebody reaches through in the half guard, I'm thinking about this movement. It's very, very sneaky. Shout out to Sean. I do this to Sean a lot, and I do this to a lot of different people that we train with here. Okay. So I'm going to straighten my body out. This shows up a lot in jiu-jitsu where we're straightening our body out so we can turn. Okay, so this is pretty complicated. You can see that the Mendez brothers do this in like old instructionals back when the brown belts. I have a Gracie mag upstairs that shows them doing this move too, but I've been doing this move instinctually for a lot of years, and it's kind of hard to read that Gracie mag stuff. It's hard, especially like imagine the Mendez brothers showing some crazy move in a magazine. Very, very difficult to see. Anyway, I'm going to start to straighten myself out, and I want to actually torque my opponent's arm. You know, Sean's got a more of a flexible shoulder. Who knows? I might even get a shoulder lock through this as I go. So I'm on my shoulder, I roll, and I'm actually going to escape my leg. Okay, this leg comes off of the neck and comes out. Okay, I have this leg straight. Right now I have his wrist in between, right? Right now my arm grip is going to be kind of keeping me, it's going to be, slowing me down. My straight right leg is what's keeping his shoulder on the ground here. This is pretty complicated, but now this near side arm is going straight to the neck. And who knows? Like I said, I might have got a submission out of this, but I'm going to let it go and kind of do the same thing that we just did. I'll skate my hips, and I take it back. Right now, I didn't get his arm trap, but that's fine. Who knows? So maybe I did. Let's go on this side. There we go. Yeah. The moment they do this, they're going to feel good. The moment people get into this position, they feel awesome. They're like, okay, I'm going to stack this guy. I got everything. Granted, I did give him a lot, but now I know what I can do on this. But I can't spin through here anymore so well. I might be able to sweep him. I might be able to show a sweep from here. But right now I'm not thinking sweep. I'm thinking position, deal with the pressure. Okay. So skate out. I'm gonna try to pull his wrist through and trap it here. Okay. For some reason, like I lose this, I'm still spinning in between this space. The only thing that will mess you up here is if they somehow get this arm back in front. And then that's fine. I mean, I can still sit and recover my guard and try to sweep my opponent. But I prefer to keep this arm. There we are. Yeah, he's trying to stack me. He's trying to move through. And even if they have a grip on this, it's going to screw him up even more. Just go thumb inside the collar. Always thumb inside the collar. There it is. Yep, they'll do this. See how much this messed him up? But usually this is what they'll do. See how I've got this deep armpit grip on the wrist? This happens a lot. You know, if he wants to roll through, that's his priority. But imagine, they were trying to pass. It's very unlikely that they're going to want to do it, but let's see what happens when he rolls. Boom. If he rolls, I might be able to switch and get the arm. I'm definitely in a better scenario at that point. But like I said, I'm trying to keep this tunnel vision of dealing with pressure, but I want you to know what's going to happen when you do certain things. Here we go. He's going to maybe grab the thumb inside the collar. Yeah, I know I got him. The moment they grab it, I know I have him. If he knows what's good for him, he'll turn his shoulder. Yeah, trap. See, I'm keeping all of my weight right now. This is more unique than the other thing because he grabbed my collar. So I'm keeping this, putting all of my weight over the arm here. It's very, very difficult for them to escape. And even at this point, if he could escape, I'm still in a great position to attack him. He's probably going to bring both of his arms right back in front of him. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, if he reaches there, yeah, but I'd probably take his back a little bit sooner. Both hands back in front. Yeah, the moment they go both hands back in front, I'm going to collapse my opponent and do what you should always be doing, which is making sure your opponent doesn't have efficient connections to them. So over here. Nice. Gonna reach from inside the collar. Right away. Stretch. And this is advanced thing. Yeah, so in this case, I had his wrist strapped. You might get in a scenario where you get the wrist strapped in this, right? There's a lot of great scenarios that happen. And believe me, I've done this to people so much, that natural progression. You can keep this tight, right? Making sure that stays in there. They can't get that out. If you're a fan of controlling both feet over, that's up to you. Right? I'm a big fan of controlling this position here because it kind of only baits my opponent to show their back in this case. So let me get a quick sip of water, team, gather my thoughts. Need some water, Chuck? You good? Okay, team. So like I was saying, it might be a little bit of a shorter class today. So at this point, I want to kind of review everything, right? And obviously I could have milked everything and put the timer on and do more repetitions of things. So that's kind of my idea right now. It's like when I'm showing you the review, I'll kind of just make sure Chuck knows what he needs to do. And I'm just going to kind of move through the positions, try to do it as fluidly as possible, just so you can kind of see as much as we can do real time as possible, which is almost impossible to do when we're just choreographing stuff. Okay, so we're gonna do that first stage, right? So obviously, first thing that I would love to do is break this grip, but that was going back. So he's lifting me up. Do it again. Yeah. You can even keep it tight, Chuck. Yeah. Hey, pretty efficient. If you're thinking about it, things are gonna go wrong too, right? So maybe Trevor, clever, scooping me up. Right now he's starting to stack me. Then now I realize, crap, now I gotta do the next thing. He's gonna start moving through. So there's a couple of things that'll happen here. He'll run through, or he'll re-square, might be able to take it back, but if he knows it's good for him, he'll re-square. So I'm gonna do that a couple of times. He's gonna scoop me up, he's gonna take me over. Now re-square. Over. Oh, you little sucker. Doing all kinds of crazy things on me. Interesting things can still happen from here. I might be able to roll him over. Nice. We end up in interesting scenarios here. All right, here we go. So he's going to stack me, but I'm going to go for my guard recovery. Or who knows, yeah, you're good, Chuck. Takes the arm out. Boom. Now we're here, right? So if I see it, I see a big gaping hole here. Yeah, from this perspective, look at all this space. You should always be searching for space. One thing that's extremely difficult to teach is the vision that higher level, or the time and the years that chisel the eyes that you should be seeing, or you should see the game a certain way. That could have came out a lot better, but that's the most difficult thing. It's like anytime I teach moves, I like to tell people what I'm looking for. You're looking for space. You're searching for space, right? And your opponent should be doing the opposite thing, is getting rid of the space. Your job is to see the space. Your opponent is to get rid of the space, right? But sometimes that anti-Jiu Jitsu game gets a little old. At some point, you got to open up and try stuff and make mistakes. Very, very important to try stuff and make mistakes, or else you never get in these amazing in-betweeners. And I said I wasn't going to talk. Here, I'm full of it. I'm through, I keep it. Look how I kept that the whole time. Collapse my opponent, I kept the arm trapped back behind. It's pretty brutal. I'm gonna get him out of the shot, do it again. I'm just gonna go straight to this position because it's easier. Open. I kept the wrist the whole time. Soon. I'm gonna do this to you. You got the wrist trapped behind you. If you want to go police lock on the guy, sorry. Trying to stay away from the tap at this point. I'll do that one again because that one's fun. And at this point, you're going to get a position to start attacking. You can roll. I showed that roll for crucifix. All right, let's do that last one here. So I'm here. But look, Chuck is going to step over the leg because you think that's the thing to do, and tap her, right? Who knows about keeping this? You might want to play low, whatever. But now he sees this as, oh, here we go. Thumb inside. The moment they do this, you know you should be able to do this because they've committed their grip, they've reached. You know what's going to happen here. Things might go good for Chuck here, but I think they're going to go better for me if I move. You're here, you're like, what do I do? Like, it's going to be difficult, right? But I want to keep him away. So like, stretch it out, and if I can, use the end of my lever, the end of my shin, to keep him away. Yeah, keeping him away. I'm rolling. Rolling. There's a lot of torque on his shoulder. I feel it. Just alleviate that a little bit. Spit, turn, and once again, I have his wrist trapped. He is only fighting with one arm at this point. And at this point, I can start doing some nasty things and choke on the opposite side. I want to show submissions. Roll back. Yes, sure. Yeah, this might be good. There we go. Thumb inside the collar strap. Yeah, that's the tell. Not that I couldn't do this, right? If he's here, if he's just chilling, like what's preventing me from just doing this and getting my leg out and doing all this good stuff, right? So the moment they're here, they don't want me back. Yeah, he's already started stack. That tells me what to do. Move. Make it sound. And we'll just do another angle over here, even though it's probably not the best one anyway. There we are, it's under. Don't tight. Stretching from here. Who knows? We might even get a sub from there, but we'll let go of that. Sitting up, all my weight goes. I got my pelvis back on this. Awesome. So there's probably some different counters in different scenarios. There's so many different things under the sun, right? But I don't need to overload everybody's brain too much. And definitely that's probably going down the rabbit hole more than people have really delved too much when it comes to getting stacked. Maybe your body's not capable of doing some of the things, but honestly, I feel like some of the things that I was doing really didn't require too much flexibility, too much dexterity. It's just trying to see the space, trying to see the proper opportunity and the time to do the count, right? The only other option is get past and get stacked. So we got to practice somehow. So we're just going to do a quick little cool down. Like I said, I knew this class was going to just be a little bit shorter. Get up on our feet. We're just going to do a quick little cool down. Arms up in the air, thrusting our hips forward. Big breath in our nose. Exhale through your mouth. Maybe a couple of these times, we'll show a couple of a real-time stack passing drilling a little bit, just to give you an idea of what that looks like. Big breath in, exhale out, push those toes. Big breath in again, walking ourselves out to our hands. Shoot those legs out. Big breath in, switch. So from all those positions, literally all those positions that I've shown Tuesday and Thursday within at least an hour and 40-minute span or whatever it is, give or take. From all those positions, there are submissions and there are sweeps, okay? So from that framework, from all this framework that I've set, everything will work from that. So make sure you solidify all these things that I showed from a bunch of different sources, people. Lean back. Go one leg forward, one leg back. You know, if you have any questions, if I missed anything, if there's something that wanted to be addressed that I missed. Everybody's been pretty supportive given circumstances. I appreciate everybody. Switch legs, especially Gandhi. I don't know what I'd be doing without Jiu Jitsu, even given the circumstances. I'm sure Trevor can attest that. On our knees, we'll just lean back. Get those quads stretched. You know, 4 p.m. might be a weird time for everybody. But once again, if you're watching the second hand, awesome. If you've already stopped the video, then good for you. So one leg forward, one leg back, hips up. Extra stretches, stretched out. Pretty sure this will be the only week that something like this will happen where there's not a lot of material to show for the rest of the period. There's lots of sweeps, lots of subs, and there's lots of other things that I can show for days. But when it comes to recovery, you know, there's only so many things under the sun from a certain position. I think I showed a pretty good repertoire of things. Switch, and I still left things out that I didn't want to reveal too much for later. Got to save some stuff too, right? Show you what everything, even though I kind of did. That was one thing I never did. I never held techniques back until I learned when you're not holding techniques back, you have to show things in a certain order for them to understand. Sometimes it's hard for us young practitioners to grasp So you have a small scope. One leg over, opposite across. Like, show me more, show me more. I can handle it. If you can handle it, that's a whole other problem. Switching up. All right, team, just gonna have our little send up. Like I said, when I come back, I'm gonna have way more material, still within the same framework of all those positions. Like I said, from every single position that I showed, there's a submission position. I kind of talked a little bit here or there about what's there. And obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably a more advanced student, because I'm definitely trying to cater to our more advanced students. And all this stuff that I've showed, I've definitely used on anybody who is blue belt and above for the most part. If you're putting me in that situation, anybody who's trained here at Heroes, I've definitely use these positions on you, and I've tried to show you those positions. I've definitely, if you're small, I've tried to help you to not get squashed, right? Shout out to like Mikey or Andrew or any of the small guys. There are not a lot of small guys around here lately. For whatever reason, we don't stick around long. You know, if it doesn't get ingrained into your life, it's really rough showing up when there's a lot of tough, big dudes. But anyway, we're not dealing with that these days. Who knows what the new normal is going to be? Anyway, like and subscribe. Really appreciate you. If you're on Zoom, appreciate you watching. This has been Charles Walker and Trevor Ireland on our Tuesday, Thursday pressure defense series. Next week, we'll be doing something a little bit different. Appreciate you, everybody.